So, hello Mark, thank you for having us here.
Well, welcome to Spartan Blades. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I have a couple of questions for a short interview.
Sure.
If you might want to answer that to me. First would run, how did it all begin? What didn't work for you in the first place, and what was the original problem that you started out solving with your business?
Well, in 2008, Curtis, my business partner, and I, we both co-founded Spartan Blades in 2008. We had been out of the military roughly 3 years. I'd worked for an armor company and was making them lots of cool products and a lot of money, and they went out of business and didn't pay me. And Curtis was working for a government agency and getting shot at. We were both had already done careers in special forces. And Curtis was the knife maker, the two of us, and we did 3 business plans and decided knives we were either going to do guns, gun accessories, or knives. And so we did knives, and so I learned to make a knife at that time for that first year. So we started in February of 2008, and Curtis designed our first 3 knives, and we asked for help. That was the smartest thing we did. We asked for help, mentorship, and so we asked Chris Reeve and Bill Harsey. He made our SF Yarborough knife, and we know you from, can you help us? And they were kind enough to do that, so we traveled and went to their shops, and then I met Ann Reeve, and she helped us on the business side. So yeah, that's how we started, and what we wanted to solve was, at the time, the war was really kicking in Iraq and Afghanistan. Nobody with the new equipment, with body armor, they couldn't fit a big knife. So we wanted to design knives that would fit on the new equipment. So that's what we did.
That's great. So, speaking about your mentors, you already mentioned, Chris Reeve.
Yeah, and Chris Reeve, Bill Harsey. But you know, we've gotten help. The nice thing about the knife industry is people are very friendly across the industry, whether they're retailers like yourself, or distributors, or manufacturers, or just individual knife makers. Yeah, Bob Trezula's helped us, Ken England's helped us, lots of people have helped us along the way. You meet them and you become friends, and maybe if we can help them, we help them, and vice versa. Everybody helps each other.
That's great. That's very great. And would you tell me about your biggest threats in the early days?
Well, the biggest thing was we self-funded, so we didn't have a lot of money, and that's one. The reason we're Spartan Blades, I'll tell you that. We didn't have any money for tape. We hadn't bought tape, but we had to send our first knife out for somebody to look at and evaluate. And we wrapped it with old 100-mile-an-hour tape from my military box, my Foot Locker. And when we went to the post office, I said, "This is a pretty Spartan way to do things." And Curtis said, "That's it. That's the name. We could be Spartan Knives." And we were like, "Well, no, but how about Spartan Blades? It sounds cooler." But anyway, that's how the name came about. But yeah, money was probably the biggest issue. Yeah. And we did everything the Spartan way. Curtis had a grinder and heat treat oven and some other things. But we, yeah, so it was just money in the beginning. But we reinvested along the way, and we never took loans, and it's done very well.
That's great. That's great. And so the very first product that you came up with?
I can show you. The first product we came up with was our Carey's knife. I'll come back. So this was the very first knife that we did. Mm-hmm. And still make it. Still a popular knife today. Aries fighter, and then the Erebus Tonto. So we made 3 knives the first, and our first batch of knives was 30 of each. Mm-hmm. That's what we could afford to make in the first batch. Well, actually, let me back up. When we were getting mentorship and we were finalizing the design, we made 2 batches of 10 of each of the knives in different sizes. And we sent them out with our friends to Iraq and Afghanistan that were on active duty. And most of the SF guys go for 1 month to 3 months. So that we sent them into the combat theater, and guys were using them in combat. And then when they came back, we would buy them a beer and say, "Hey, what'd you like, what you didn't like?" And they gave us good, honest feedback. And that's how the designs evolved to what they are. So.
Yeah, great, very great. And what about when did you see yourself being on the right track as a company? Was it like an instant success? Or?
It was an instant success. I mean, we didn't take pay. You know, you go into business to feed yourself and your family. Luckily, I have military retirement. I had savings, so Curtis was still working for a government agency for the time. So he would do 2 months in Iraq and 2 months back here working in the shop, which is at my house. The shop started at my house and my studio and shop. I'm lucky I have that on my property. So we did have a lot of overhead because it was in my shop. But yeah, we put all his tools and my tools together. We bought the stuff we needed, which wasn't a lot that we could afford, but we bought what we needed for sure. And we started doing it. But I didn't take pay for the first year and a half. And we just reinvested. And then I needed to start. When my wife went back to work to help. Yeah, but it was good. By the time we were at year 3, we knew we were good. We used to joke, if we could make 7 knives a day and they're sell, we're good. And we got to the 7 knives a day by the end of year 2.5. So.
That's great. That's so great. So I do have some quick word wrap for you. Just a very instantaneous answer from your side, if you'd like to. What's more important, the original idea or sufficient funds?
It's the idea and follow through. I mean, everybody can have ideas. Like I meet lots of people who have ideas, but it's the follow through. I think the follow through with the ideas.
Fully with you. Luck versus hard work.
Both count.
Both count.
We've had really good luck, and we do work hard. So I think both.
Both. Okay, that counts. DIY versus delegation to experts?
I delegate to experts. Heat treat, coating, these are multi-million-dollar machines with a lot of education and experience. We outsource our heat treat, we outsource coating. The machine that our coating gets done is a $2.8 million machine, and it takes 2 people to run, and you got to have a big factory. I mean, so yeah, outsource the things that you want to make your product high quality, and the things that you can't do or don't know how to do, outsource. Everything else, learn as you go. We've brought more and more things in house as we've grown.
Yeah. So man versus machine.
Both are important. But I would say man is the most important.
Yeah.
Good employees, good people.
Yeah.
Trainable and reliable.
Yeah. And as it comes to marketing, like push versus pull.
We know marketing works. We pay for marketing, but generally it's word of mouth. In this business, in this price point that we're in, it's word of mouth and user groups and certain magazines. So yeah, marketing works, but it's word of mouth is what everybody. Chris Reeve told us when we were starting out. He said, "Everybody will look at you because you are 2 former special forces guys who made a knife."
Yeah.
He goes, "The difference is either you make a good knife and they'll come back, or you make a crap knife and they'll be like, oh, they're the 2 guys that make crap knives." So you can get a look the first time, but people won't come back unless you take care of them. Customer service and a good product.
Great. So the last question: what was your first knife, and what is your actually EDC right now?
Oh, well, my first knife.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, actually, I know. My first knife was a little pen knife that I got when I was in the precursor to Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. I got a little pen knife, three tool pen knives that had a small blade, a large blade, and a nail file.
Some case or
I think it was case.
Yeah.
It might have been Queen, but I think it was case.
Yeah.
With the little Boy Scout logo.
Still own it?
No,
it got lost.
It got lost.
Yeah.
Where the socks go and knives go, there's a drawer of the woods and the jungle where everything goes.
Everything.
But yeah, I don't have that one. The first one I used in the military was, it was a Gerber, I think, or Cold Steel. I don't know. But I've had lots of knives.
Yeah, and now EDC is your own make for sure.
Yeah, we try to carry one of our own. So
the one I saw already.
Yeah, I've got
Iwan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
So I carry. Curtis and I will make a knife for ourselves each year, and then we carry it for the year. And it's generally one of the newer models that we're making. Because Chris Reeve did tell us, that's the other thing he mentored us, always carry your own knife.
Perfect.
For shows.
So guys, pay attention to my Instagram feed. I made pictures of that knife already from your show.
Awesome.
So obviously you made it as a company, and right now through the questions. Will you tell me about the greatest hassles today pretty quickly?
Hassles. Some people, we pride ourselves on our customer service. There's some people, though, unfortunately, in the world that you can't make happy. So we have a small list of people we'll never sell to. They're hassles. But other than that, no, I mean, the world's pretty good and life's pretty good, so I don't dwell on negatives too much.
Yeah,
I mean, because I think if you're positive, it goes with everything. So,
yeah, I'm with you. Just pretty quick, the next big thing in our industry, is there anything you see on the horizon?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Well, you know, we just licensed a new mechanism for a folder, so that'll be coming out next year. We're working on it right now. So that's a new mechanism that's patented, which is hard to do nowadays. And I'm in the middle of an interview.
You're taking it with you to play, right?
Where was I? Oh, so yeah, the printed metal is another big change. So we've already done some parts with printing with titanium and stainless steel. It's because there's different processes. It used to be injection molded metals, MIM, and they're expensive and you got to do a lot, but they make the part cheap in the end, so you can make a product less expensive, but you have to do 10,000 pieces or 20,000 pieces. Now with printed metal, you can print 200 pieces and sinter it, and you can have 200 pieces relatively inexpensively, and everything's done. You basically, all the machining is almost done except for maybe tapping, so yeah, that's really neat. And last year, the most innovative award at Blade Show was a printed knife. Everything on it was printed. So it was a titanium frame knife with a stainless steel blade, and the whole thing cost about $35 to make, and it was all done by printing. And there was just drilling, tapping, and finishing. That was all that was left to do.
How do you call it actually? Editing, factoring, or what's it?
Yeah, additive manufacturing.
Additive
manufacturing. That's the balloon that falls under, but it's printed metal, and they call it sintered. It's sintered metal because it's in a carrying media, the powder metal, and then so it's oversized, and then when it goes in the oven and cooks at 1900 degrees or 2100 degrees sintered, it shrinks. But they've got it down now where they can precisely know how much it shrinks.
Very great.
Yes, I think that's going to be, you're going to see a lot more parts that are printed like that. Especially in multi-tools.
So that already actually answered my last question, where you headed, probably that way.
Yeah, we are. We try to stay up with what's going on in other industries and try and bring it into the knife industry. That was one of the things we did. We brought in coatings that were only in the firearms industry into knives, and now a lot of people do with the coatings we do. Same with steels. We're always looking for good steels, but mostly we stay with Crucible because they've been really good to us, and they're the best steel in the U.S. They're always doing things cutting edge. So MagnaCut, we'll probably be doing a knife with MagnaCut. We just switched over to S45, and of course MagnaCut came right along. So you keep up with the steels, but
you're never there.
Yeah, you're never there. But yeah, so that's where we'll continue to innovate and try and figure out what we're doing next. And we've got a lot of projects on the calendar, but we try to knock out 2 to 3 new knives a year minimum. So yeah, we're having fun.
So do I.
Good.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Hey, thank
you.
It was
my great pleasure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
See you in a few days, or like actually the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow at Blade.
At Blade Show.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for watching us.